debating what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone. Dream of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last.
Love the Cup on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige. My partner in crime's not in the building today, but he will be in with us this Friday. His name is EZ BlueZ, but it's not about us. It's about our guest today. His name is Raheem Nelson, and he's always looking to take his creative talents to the next level. Raheem, welcome to the show, man. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Preston. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the type of art that I do. Super excited.
Now, what got you into art? What made you, if I could barely speak, pick up that pen or pick up that pencil or that crayon or that paintbrush and make it into a great career out of for yourself? Talk to me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love talking about just the history and the trajectory of how I got into the arts. And, the short answer is, which I'll expand upon too, it's comic books. I love comic books and cartooning, and that was my first foray into art. Just like Archie comics, Marvel comics for the most part. Sonic the Hedgehog, huge fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and DC comics a little bit. My parents would draw for me when I was younger, like 6, and then earlier than that as well. And I really just got into it quickly, started picking up comic books. And then even like from the business side of it too, I would copy the comics I would buy, like certain panels and stuff like that, until I started making my own. So like turning myself into a superhero, and then like getting into like the art of self-publishing. And, I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. Like I didn't really know what self-publishing was about, but like I was doing it, printing my own comics, selling them in grade school, like doing the writing, doing the drawing, the inking, the coloring, like all that stuff. Just so like I was really just teaching myself the business side of it and having fun, and not really realizing that this was something that would be a career until like a little later. My mom and I went to, it was like one of the comic book conventions in New York.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And my mom and I asked one of the panelists, like, oh, my son is really into comics and everything. Like, what's it look to like self-publish? He's doing A, B, and C. And then the lady was like, oh, your son's already doing all that stuff. So it was like such a gratifying thing to hear that, like even back then, I was on this path to, just be an artist, and it was just in my blood. So like, I couldn't help it.
Now, what was the name of your first comic book company?
I think it was called Action Oriented.
Okay.
Like really heavily inspired by like Wolverine, Spider-Man, X-Men. So like I kind of just took all of that and then put it into my own comics. I did one comic about like mainly superheroes, myself, and like a whole team of superheroes, kind of like the Avengers.
What was the superhero name?
I don't remember, to be honest. It's been so long. I only remember what my superhero name was, which was Thunderbolt. And Thunderbolt was like, kind of like a Spider-Man-esque superhero, but like you could fly, super strength, that kind of thing, like the classics. And then from doing that, I transitioned into a few different genres, because I was just so many different things, like superhero genre, and then like the spy genre, and then like, the high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien-esque kind of thing. But yeah, I absolutely love making comic books. I think I started in grade school, like all the way through college too. So
wow. Now, when you talk about grade school and college, did you pick up different art programs? Did you major in art when you were in college, and also that? Tell me about that part of your life.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I started to branch out and get into different types of art forms when I was going to the Educational Center for the Arts. Which is on Audubon Street.
Okay.
So I'd go to, high school and everything, went to Wilbur Cross, and then afterward I would go to ECA. And I had no idea just how transformative ECA was going to be, because, I had like a narrow focus, like cartooning. And they were doing everything from like studio photography to like, being in dark rooms and stuff like that, which was amazing to pick up.
Right.
and doing acrylic painting, still life, also like drawing figures and everything, really getting a handle on anatomy, which helped with the cartooning, and
Mm-hmm.
then also getting into oil painting. And then so that was like my foundation for art college. I
Mm.
ended up going to art college in New York, this place called School of Visual Arts, which is
Okay.
a prominent school, like very amazing. And the funny thing is, like, I majored in cartooning, but with everything I was learning and picking up, I think I would more define myself as an illustrator.
Mm.
And I take oil painting, I take design, cartooning, all that stuff, and I just kind of merge it into the type of work that I'm doing now, like where you're getting a little bit of everything, like some of the things that I feel like I really excel at.
And it definitely shows. I see it throughout your social media, just different types of artwork that you do. Because I want to talk about the iPad art a little bit later, but
Mhm.
with all those oil paintings and stuff that you learned in high school and just a little bit in college as well too, like you said, you build that foundation. Was that a lot of inspiration for the mural of your mother that you did?
Oh yeah, the one that's in progress right now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, doing that mural for my mom, which is
Hmm.
just a great opportunity because I'm getting to celebrate her Mexican heritage and
Hmm.
just kind of put something in her space where she can kind of like go into the backyard and everything and just really be uplifted. Like I love uplifting people with my art. So me working on this mural, and it's been a while since I've worked on any murals, before this. I did something for Yale recently too, but the thing
Hmm.
for my mom came first. And using, I think we're using like acrylics for, like surfaces and everything was really liberating because I love working digital, and there's just
Yeah.
something about tactile media and getting your hands dirty and composing something in a sketch and then painting over it. So it's going really well so far, and it's just been really cool to kind of contribute to my mom in that way and give her a piece of art where she's just gonna be able to like go in the backyard and check it out. So yeah, definitely my college background, ECA, is informing the stuff that I'm doing for this mural that's in progress.
For the average Joe, what is tactile media?
Okay, tactile media, what I mean by that is like anything you can touch with your hands, like if
Hmm.
you're developing film, or if you're using oils, acrylics, if you're doing sculpture, like any type of art that you're creating that you can, touch in the tangible world.
Mm. Now, tell me about other stuff that you find for inspiration besides just the world of fantasy and cartoons and everything. Because New Haven is such a bread just for culture. You see a lot of stuff going on. There's so much
Mhm.
diversity in this city. What other stuff do you see for inspiration? Because I had last week, I had Lee Busby
Mhm.
on the show, and he was just like anywhere. Like I get up, I walk around, I look outside, I see the person down the street, like everybody tells a story. Is the same
Mhm.
thing with you? Because photography and drawing are two completely different things.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll answer all of that. So yeah, shout out to Lee Busby. Lee is
Hmm.
definitely a close friend of mine and a frequent collaborator.
Nice.
Because I'm really heavy into fashion too, and Lee and I have like reciprocal business partnership slash relationship where if he gets like new equipment, a new camera, a new lens, it's like, hey, let's go try it out. I know you're modeling and everything, and you want some stuff for like your fashion IG and stuff like that. Because I'm really the fashion thing is like I consider like another art form for me. So like Lee and I kind of collaborate in that way. And we had a studio photo shoot recently,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
going to use these photos for my website and my branding just to kind of really showcase, like high fashion and illustration and, doing all these things in the arts. A friend of mine calls me an entrepreneur. Like I have all these different skill sets that I
Hmm.
bring to the table. And that's really like, I think the best way to describe it. I'm somebody that loves to connect people. I'm somebody that loves to work with people either through consultation, and that can look like fashion consultation, that can look like working on design, editorial illustration. So like so many things that encompass what I do. So in terms of like inspiration, I think it's like people, places, events. Those are things that always inspire my work. I have self-published a few books over the years
Nice.
based about Thank you. My commute from New Haven to New York, because when I was going to art college in New York, I was commuting those 4 years, which was crazy. But I was like, how much do you want this? And I really wanted it. I really wanted that
Yeah.
art education. So that involved getting up at 5 in the morning and grabbing those canvases that were not dry yet and getting on the Metro North to go to East 23rd Street. So, that was a lot of work that just went into it, but, absolutely worth it. So, New Haven and New York, I consider like my homes, and I get my creative energy from both places. More now, I think New Haven, like I really have been tapping in and reconnecting with New Haven.
Hmm.
And like organizations like the Arts Council that I've been doing work with, and
Yeah.
Arts and Ideas and Art Space New Haven. So like just kind of like having a foothold here and then using that to go to other places and network and do things like that. So that's been my trajectory lately.
Yeah, and I've seen it. Great did it feel to just have a mural at the shops at Yale? How exhilarating was that feeling?
Oh, that was so cool. Like shout out to the shops at Yale for that amazing opportunity and giving
Uh-huh.
me free range to create a piece of art that you can just go to Broadway and check out. Um, and it was just an amazing experience. It's always an amazing experience working with a client that really trusts you, like trusts
Hmm.
me as the artist. And I sent them a mock-up sketch illustration that I did on my iPad, and I was like, okay, this is the direction that I want to go in, and they absolutely loved it. And the design that was used for the mural was like, I guess you could say, an extension of something that I did for Arts and Ideas, which
Hmm.
was a beer can label I did for their collaboration with Black Hog Brewery, and that was
Mm.
featured for the festival. So it's basically like my upbringing as a New Haven based artist from like past to present, like showcasing the New Haven Green, the Palladium building, which houses known co-working. I'm there doing a lot of different events with them and doing some projects lately. What else I do? 195 Church Street, which is where the Arts and Ideas offices are. So, paying homage to them, and then
Mm.
different places around New Haven. So just kind of taking what I had as a base and then building off of that. I think the major change I made to the illustration that ended up in the mural was having the Metro North train car,
Yeah.
symbolizing me taking that artist journey to New York. And, sometimes I still do, to just kind of, create a pathway for myself as an artist. So all of that was put into the mural, which I was able to paint live at that event. And I think painting it live was the most fun part, because they gave me like a time constraint, which is of course
Of
what I
course.
expected. And so it was like a performance. They were like, by this point, you should be done sketching. And by this point, you should have everything painted in. So I
Mm.
went over a little bit, but I think
Does that get overwhelming?
I think it used to. I've been in
Right.
some high pressure situations over the years where I've had to paint for a large audience. So that fear kind of like vanished over time, where I don't mind being in front of people, creating illustrations. And one thing that comes to mind is when I was doing some work for Sony. Sony
Oh,
hired
wow.
me, yeah, huge gig, so
Yeah.
very grateful. They hired me to do portraits in, I think their New York City flagship store, like I think 3 of their stores. So I would have people come sit for me, and I was using a drawing tablet, not an iPad, but I was using one of the Sony tablets that they had. And so it was like I had to kind of get used to using this program. And I had used the
Hmm.
program on my iPad before, but like it's just like a different kind of language. So I had to like learn that real quick. And then people were sitting for portraits, and those portraits were being projected onto the screen for everybody to see. So like everything had to be like super tight. And when you're drawing somebody, they might say like, well, my nose is too big, or I don't like the way this looks. And I'm trying to create flattering portraits. And sometimes people are gonna have feedback, and like be very vocal about it. So I had to just like be able to pivot in that moment while it was being projected the whole store can see.
So much all at one time, you have to multitask.
Yeah, a lot of multitasking. So gigs like that prepared me for drawing and painting in front of a live audience. 'Cause like you're performing, like you are, catering to your audience. You're creating a piece of art, and like I get a lot of questions when I'm creating art. So like I've gotten to the point where like I can be working on something and then be talking about it at the same time too.
Now, iPad based art. When I looked at your artwork for the first time, it was like pretty much honestly my introduction into it. I didn't know how big it was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you like a little two-part question. Number one, how hard or how easy was it to learn it at first? And tell me, how's it gonna be really big in the foreseeable years that everybody's living in this world? So talk to me about that.
Oh, okay, yeah, great questions.
Mhm.
So first, I would say it was not easy.
Okay,
It wasn't
understandable.
easy coming from somebody that had familiarity with Photoshop, not
Hmm.
really so much drawing tablets, because like it just wasn't something that I got into. I would create my comic books, scan them, and then color in Photoshop. I was never really like creating digital art like that. Like it was only to ink and color. Like that was it. So I knew I wanted an iPad when I saw one artist on YouTube using this app called Sketchbook Pro from Autodesk. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, you can draw on an iPad. It's like I definitely need to buy one now. Like it's amazing. So that caused me to want to buy it, which I did.
Yeah.
And I started with Sketchbook Pro, and then I downloaded, I think, like 4 to 5 other applications. And I would say it probably took me like at least 2 to 3 months to master each one,
Hmm.
to really feel comfortable with it. And I think for me, it was just like getting out of my own way, like just kind of see past that it's a drawing tablet, like just think about the art that is being created and why I want to create it. And this is just like a tool, to give me access to that. Like if you've got like a traditional camera that shoots film versus
Hmm.
a digital camera, like it's a tool. It's a tool that you're using to convey something to your audience or for yourself too. So I think when I was able to let that go, everything else just kind of fell into place. And now I can kind of like go back and forth between the traditional art and the digital art. And for the most part, my clients are commissioning digital art, but I've been getting some traditional commissions too, which has been pretty cool. And it's just like learning another language. I think that's really how it felt for me, like just practicing every day. I'm online a lot, like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, like all the platforms, just to learn more about these programs.
And everybody's learning now on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige. Easy Blues is not with us on the show, but with us in spirit. But we got the great Raheem Nelson in the building. I hope I didn't lose your train of thought. Go right ahead, Raheem.
No, we're good. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just being on social media to soak up as much information as I could. Like the app that I use mostly is this app called Procreate, and it's from
Okay.
a team of guys in Australia, I believe. Savage is the company, and what I love about Procreate is that it lets me kind of tap into all the art backgrounds I have, like with the oils, the acrylics, the cartooning background, the design background, and then illustration. Like I've made everything from children's books to digital oil paintings
Mm-hmm.
to logos just with this one app. So like I
That's
absolutely
amazing.
love using it. Yeah. I'm able to like pretty much give any of my clients, whatever they would need. So it's been like really cool. In terms of the future,
Yeah.
one area I see really taking off is like 3D art.
Oh,
That
wow.
was something that was started to happen in a recent update to the Procreate application, where you can kind of take objects that you are photographing, or maybe it's something that's provided to you by the program, and you can create an illustration on top of it. Excuse me. Like when I was designing the beer can for Black Hog Brewery and Arts and Ideas, I kind of
Mm-hmm.
made my own mock-up of it just to see how it would look in like a 3D space environment, because I'm a very visual person. Because it was like really cool. They're like, oh, your artwork's going to be on a beer can. and they gave me like the label and everything, so I would know where to draw and where all the text would go. But like I still couldn't quite visualize it. I really needed to like just go one step beyond that, just to see how it would look in a 3D space. So Procreate has like this canned template that you could download and put into the program. So I put the illustration that I created onto, I basically mapped it onto the can, meaning like just with the curves and everything. So like it was 3D space. And so like I'm able to manipulate it and turn it around and just see how it looked. And it was really cool. Like I definitely want to experiment with that more. And then the next thing I think is really going to take off in terms of iPad art is animation. And I have dabbled in animation. It's something that's very exciting to me, also very time consuming. So just kind of balancing doing that. I was working on a comic series online for a little bit called Little Robots. And Little Robots was something that I created and wrote, and my wife helped me out with the writing part of it too. But she
cool.
Characters. And so that helped me experiment with animation. And it was like inspired by Japanese manga animation. So the characters will have like these very exaggerated features and emotions and everything.
Oh, I'm all familiar with that.
Yeah. So I worked on this one frame, and I was so proud of myself for like, figuring this part out. I actually, let me see if I can pull it up. It's
absolutely. I'm game. This is pretty cool to see live.
Yeah. It was basically a frame. It's like all the color washes out of the character's face. And I animated it, and I figured out how to just put all the frames in the order that they were going to go. So when you're looking at it, it very much reads as somebody that is embarrassed for something that just went down. Let me see what this is. I have so much work. It's like, where do I keep all this stuff?
If you can go back to your younger self and just tell them about all the amazing technology and stuff that you use just to create your artwork, would that younger self, you think you're just so crazy right now?
Yeah. My younger self would definitely be blown away. Because it's just like, if I really just sat down and stopped, it's like I've got a drawing tablet. I can create any type of art that I want virtually. If I want to send it to somebody in Japan, I could, like, just touch of a button, like, just so cool that I'm able to do that. And I think I found it here too.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So this is my iPad, and this is
oh, that's pretty cool.
Main character, model with tie and everything. And at the bottom, there are like keyframes. So each one is copied. And then if I play it, it's just going to show the action of this person's the color washing out of his face. See?
Oh wow!
It just loops.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you. I can set it up in a way where I can slow it down, I can speed it up, and it's just pretty sophisticated that can do animation. So I think that's something I want to dabble with more. My work is just kind of doing animated stuff and just adding it to the repertoire of things that I have.
And you got a lot of material. But let's just go back down to Mary Lane, because let's take the DeLorean to the past. How difficult was it just getting that client base? Because you're an entrepreneur, you have your own company. I mean, you're going out there, and people are, I think at this point now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, people are coming to you now because they see this amazing work that you're doing. But how hard it was just like starting off and just trying to get that potential seller just to get in your artwork, because you learned a lot of your stuff in New York, and I think New York is pretty competitive when it comes to art. Am I right?
Yep, definitely. So to answer that, I'll say it's always a constant process, and I definitely noticed a shift with how the community, especially New Haven, because this is where I work for the most part, has responded to my work. I'm getting a lot of, oh, I've seen your work before, and I know you from the Arts and Ideas mural. I've seen your work at Shops at Yale. And the best way I can say is like, it's really humbling and really gratifying that people are coming to me already aware of the type of work that I do. Like, it's really great and it makes my job just that much easier because, I'm developing, clout with people. So if I could like think of a trajectory, it's like going to college was really great and amazing.
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily learn the business part of it. Like that was something that I had
Okay.
to do research on my own, having conversations with people, and just figuring out, okay, I'm an artist. How am I going to get clients? And a big part of it I like to consider is like offline marketing,
Yeah.
meaning marketing with people in person, having conversations, and then online marketing, and then having the two be cohesive, like where you can find my work easily online, you can find me easily online, and then you can connect with me easily too. I never want to make it difficult for people to discover my work, purchase my work, or consult with me. And that was some of the feedback I got recently from a major client that I'm doing editorial work for. They were
Mhm.
like, we love the fact that you're on LinkedIn and it's made it easier for us to hire you and get in touch with you. And, like there are artists that we've worked with before, they don't really have a web presence. And I knew having a web presence and really building that up was going to be important in terms of getting work and getting recognized. And I really like being able to go into these different spaces, and my reputation precedes me. So yeah, that
Mhm.
offline marketing and the online marketing has really made a world of difference. And I'm always just looking at ways I can improve on that and like get even more clients coming to me and just do more consultation. I'm really looking to pivot into artist development, like working with other artists to show them the ropes of just being on social media, or even managing that for them too. Like kind of talking about the NFTs and things like that.
Yeah.
I created NFTs for other artists because I
Now,
did a lot of research
what
on.
is an NFT? I know what
Yeah,
an NFT is, but I
yeah.
want to know what my audience was for NFT. To please tell everybody.
Sure, definitely. So the best way I can describe it, it's called non-fungible token. And
Mhm.
I think of it like as a marketplace. In terms
Gotcha.
of the NFTs that I create, it's digital art, it's animation for the most part. And you are going through a marketplace. The marketplace I use is called Voice HQ, and they're based in New
Mhm.
York. And you are buying a limited edition piece. I sell, like if you think of it like Pokemon cards or a rare
Yeah.
basketball card, I sell pieces that are like one of one. I sell pieces that are like one of 100. So if you get one of my editions, it's really clear what you're buying into. Like, are you getting something that is going to be bought and then discontinued, or are you getting something that maybe there are 30 other editions out there? And what attracted me in NFTs, I think, is just how amazing the artist community is with NFTs. Like I've done artist collaborations, and I haven't really collaborated with artists in the sense of creating a piece of art together. It's more been like if I've curated art shows or something like that. But being in the NFT space, it's really cool. Where, and this reminds me of something I worked on recently for
Mhm.
Earth Month. We created what was the biggest NFT collaboration on this specific platform. It was like me and a ton of other artists. We would illustrate one part of this illustration for Earth Month to raise awareness, and be able to create an illustration that was just going to look really great for this platform as well. And it was really cool because like we had talked through this channel, this Discord channel, and everything online, and we had a general idea of what each person's role was going to be. But like the synergy was like really amazing. Like I illustrated, for my part, it was like a deer, few birds that were like in the background of this forest. And then every time an artist would build on that. And then by the end of it, like we were ready to create this NFT and put it up for sale. And we got some sales off of it and everything, which is great. And what I love is that the sales were divided evenly between all the artists. Like revenue in the NFT space is like really cool because you can get these automatic royalties. Like somebody
Really?
buys from you, and if that person
Uh-huh.
decides to resell it, that artist is going to get revenue as well. So that was one of the main things that attracted me as an artist, because if I'm selling a canvas, I'm getting that profit up front, but I'm not going to be able to get any additional profits if that person that buys it from me wants to sell it to, say a family member or, somebody like that. The automatic royalties is great. The community is really cool. And then just being an artist, like at the forefront of, what they call Web3 and the metaverse and everything, where like you'd have your artwork in a virtual gallery, getting to that point is really cool. Like I love how nuanced everything is. And I had been looking for ways to really capitalize off of my digital art. So like kind of going backward, when I started creating artwork primarily on an iPad, like not for me so much personally, but there was kind of a backlash where people were like, "Oh, that's not real art. Picasso wouldn't paint on an iPad." It's like, yeah, he would. Like, what are you talking about?
He would.
Yeah, he would. Like,
it would be amazing too. All your influences will love the technology we have right now. But I'm glad we agree on that.
Yeah. It's just interesting how people perceive art. So I'm pretty sure I'm the first person in New Haven that was picking up this iPad and really like marketing themselves as an iPad artist. And that resulted in a little bit of an uphill battle. Like if I was printing my work on the canvases, it was also like educating people like what the value was. Like, oh, this canvas is a 1 of 10 or it's a 1 of 1. And I print my work here and there. I think I want to have a showing at Anchor Spa, which would be really cool because I have these paintings I've done of.
Oh, nice.
I know the owners really well too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. But I think primarily I enjoy being virtual. I enjoy selling NFTs, and you're getting so yeah, let me talk about the value of NFTs. Like if you're buying an NFT from me, I like to have like collector's items. So it's not just like you're getting an edition or something like that. Maybe you get a time-lapse video on top of it. Like maybe you get, like something behind the scenes where I'm talking about the piece of art I've created. And not only that, but like people that are buying into NFTs, they get to develop a relationship directly with the artist. They're not necessarily going through a gallery. Like you can reach out and, talk to the artist, network with the artist, and like how did you create this kind of piece, for instance? So I really enjoy that part of it too. Like, and I bought some NFTs from some of my artist friends, and it's been really cool to just empower them directly with a purchase instead of like buying through a gallery and maybe only get a cut of it or something like that. Whereas, for this voice platform, we'll be able to buy into their work and they're getting like 90% of the profits, I think, something like that. Like it's like really amazing. And then, like I said too, like the residual profits over time, like it's really great to be an artist in this space and just be able to have all these opportunities.
New Haven is such a great city and a good platform just for prospective artists and people just want to get into anything creatively. Do you feel you are in a renaissance, a brand new renaissance now when it just comes to just people going out there and just with artwork? Because I see a lot of artists and a lot of painters in New Haven always collabing with one another, always piggybacking, not in a bad way, but in a good way. And it's just like great networking for everybody. Do you feel it's a great time right now to be an artist in New Haven, Connecticut?
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the things that's helped create this renaissance, has been COVID and, the fact that we were in this pandemic and just shut out from people where, we can't really interact the way that we would like to. COVID's not necessarily gone, but
not at all.
No, not at all. But it's, we have things in place where the vaccinations and stuff like that, where we can interact with each other and have in-person relationships. And I think that's just helped foster creativity. Like, I mean, I know that's definitely fostered creativity for me as well, just where I have different collaborations on the horizon that I don't think they necessarily would be happening or like happening with this sense of urgency without something like COVID just taking away things that we take for granted. So I think that plays a big factor into it, and just kind of seeking out people to work with, because like a good collaboration like feels amazing, whether it's like coming on to a radio program or like creating a piece of art with a fellow artist that I respect. Like there's just so many things that can lead to great pieces of art. And I just try to think of it like, it's great being a New Haven-based artist,
Mhm.
and that doesn't mean I have to work in a silo. Like there are all these other amazing people doing great things. Like
Of course.
have to compete with each other. Like we can collaborate with each other and just uplift everybody.
Oh, definitely, definitely. With that time away, when everybody was like secluded in their homes from March 2020 to like a little bit of 2021,
Mhm.
um, did you see it as just like a playground, just to draw different stuff and just to practice for yourself, like different kind of paintings? Because it's a repeated question I always ask different broadcasts, like every creator I talk to. They have so much fun when they go out there, because it was a dead space. They don't know if they'll ever get this opportunity again.
Yeah.
I just want to know from your experience, did you go out there with the paintbrush or with the iPad and just explore and have your imagination just run wild?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Mm,
Um, so I think before COVID, my
mhm.
iPad I considered like a travel buddy. Whereas like if I was traveling overseas or whatever, I would bring it. And then I would be creating art while I was over there. I took this huge trip to Europe in 2017. And
Wow.
I did London, I did Paris, I did the south of France, Barcelona, and then Lisbon, Portugal for like the layover before I went home. And I created like what's probably my favorite body of work. And it was like everything that I anticipated that it would be like where I'm meeting people every day, like every day I'm going out and I'm creating artwork and it's just like so much fun. Whereas with COVID, it was more like internal. It was like I wasn't really connected to people. I mean, I was connected to people virtually because I was still
Of
networking and stuff,
course.
but not really so much in person. So recognizing that it was a time for like internal work and reflection and everything, I took a lot of time to experiment with animation and storytelling and working with different kinds of clients and just things like that. Really taking the time to hone my craft and recognizing that this was like, I guess you could say like uninterrupted studio time, where it's like I don't have any events that I necessarily want to go to because that's also a part of it. Going to events and networking and stuff like that. Like I'm
Yes.
home, it's me, my iPad. I'm making work. I'm like for the most part, I was work for myself, like making the comic books and different illustrations and the portraits that I was working on and just honing in and focusing in and just getting stuff done. Like it was definitely an amazing time period for getting a lot of things done, experimenting, and just seeing what I wanted to do moving forward as an artist.
And it's great to hear on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige. Our partner in crime, Easy Blues, Long Island Raised, Elm City Made, is not with us on Behind the Brand today, but he will be us. If I can barely speak, he will be on the next episode of Behind the Brand. We got Raheem Nelson of Raheem Nelson Art with us on the show. Raheem, tell me about the collaboration with Frank Brady. How great was that experience?
Oh, I could say it's like a constant collaboration between me and him. That is my
Awesome.
brother. He is an amazing dude. And I love how much he's grown as a person. Like I always joke
Mm.
with him, like every time I see him, like I call him the mayor of New Haven because like he knows everybody. He's super connected and
Yeah.
he's also super personable. So I don't know if he wants to get into politics or anything, but like he definitely has the right personality for it. And he's just a really good dude. And I think my collaborations with him have taken many different shapes and forms. Like, for instance, I have this skill called graphic recording. And
Mm.
graphic recording is me, the artist. I'm going into meetings. I'm creating infographics live on what's being said in like a keynote presentation or something like that. Frank, gives a lot of public talks and he's an educator.
Of course.
So he had one at Wilbur Cross a few years ago, and I went out there and I created this infographic while he was speaking, and I did a few more, in the few years to follow after that. So one thing I want to like to be doing more of is like working with somebody like Frank Brady, where they're speaking, and then I'm in the background creating this infographic that captures the main idea of what they're talking about. So that's like one thing that comes to mind. The other thing that comes to mind is this I think it's like an offshoot of his main brand,
Mm,
FEB Media.
okay.
So like FEB Media encompasses videography and photography. And I've really noticed his photography and videography taking off. Like he got into it I think a few months ago, like in the summer. Has a nice camera and everything. And just despite having like the equipment to, create this vision, he has a unique photography and videography style. Like that's what I'll say. Like the way he interacts with people and connects with people, that comes through his photography too. So like when I look at his photos, I'm like, okay, like you definitely took this. I'm like, I know you took this because of the way you're connecting with this person with the camera. So like it takes a lot of talent, I think, and he has a real knowledge of self where he's able to have this come through in his photography. So like his relationship to photography and how he works with me is similar to how I work with Lee. Whereas like if Lee gets new equipment or wants to try out a new technique or something like that, like we'll get up and we'll do it. Like benefits both of our brands. And
Mm,
it's the same thing with Frank and I. And Frank, like he'll take videography and photography like at Jazzy's and everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he took this amazing photo of my wife and I at Jazzy's, and we were just like enjoying dinner and everything. But like it's just like this really cool candid where like I was on like IG or something, like checking out my view count for like one of my reels. And then my wife was actually looking at the camera. So I'm like, this. And then like she's like focusing on the camera. I'm like, this is like perfect. It's like we're always working, we're always networking, we're always, looking how to just push the needle forward. So like, Frank was really able to capture that, which is really cool.
Now, Frank is really known for working with youth and working with a lot of kids. Tell me about your experience just working with youth, because their minds and their imagination is always 10 times incredible than an adult's, because like an
Oh
adult, you
yeah.
forget like certain type of stuff. With a child, that imagination is right there. How great is it just working with just like different kids and just picking, just looking in their minds and seeing what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So I work with kids in a few different capacities.
Okay.
Like for my day job, I work as a paraprofessional for James Hillhouse High School. I work
Awesome.
in a self-contained resource room with special needs kids, and I absolutely enjoy doing that. I used to work one-to-one with the students, but now it's pretty much like I work with different kids in the building, and it's been really cool seeing how creative that they are and how resilient they are too.
Yeah,
Pretty amazing, because kids have to deal with stuff every day.
of
So
course.
me as an educator, what I try to do is just lead by example, and not just through the art. Like as a Black man in America, I really like to embody sophistication and somebody that is going to persevere. And I do that, with the way I dress and the way I carry myself. Being a
Mhm.
gentleman is something that's really important to me. So, I pretty much 9 times out of 10, like I will go to work in a suit and tie. And for me, that's like another art form. And that's like something the kids have really picked up on too. That's like I'm dressing in the nines like Monday through Friday. And like sometimes I'll even like turn that into like a fashion illustration where like I'll have my mainstay pieces that I like to put together. And then so that'll be something that I remember, oh, this got me a lot of feedback and this got me into a certain meeting or whatever. So like I'll repeat that, like I'll have something that I wear to work because I know it's gonna garner attention, respect, and feedback. And if I have like, say, a job interview with a client or new prospective business, I might like pare something down. It's like having a plaid brown suit versus like just a charcoal suit and a charcoal tie and a white shirt. It's like different types of clothes for different venues. So that's something I really try to consider, when I'm going to work and just what the kids are going to be absorbing. I'm glad that I can inspire them that way. Like one of the kids asked me, like, "Oh, why do you wear a tie every day?" And to me, it's just like not only a symbol of respect, like you respect the job, you respect the workplace, but you respect yourself too. You know, I try not to go to work without a tie. I mean, if it's like a cocktail event or something like that, all right, I'm probably gonna lose the tie. But like if I'm at work, like it's gonna be suit and tie. Like that's just how I carry myself and how I present myself.
That's cool. What has Raheem Nelson not done in his
Raheem
career?
Nelson.
Raheem Nelson. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ra is
I'm
my
loving the
thing.
conversation. I'm so in
Yeah.
tune. I'm
You're
slurring
good.
my
You're
words.
good.
I'm happy to be corrected. I love being corrected.
Okay.
What have you not done in your career that needs to get done? Because I really feel you have so much to offer
Thank
for
you.
New Haven. You're very welcome.
For some reason, I think Paris is on my mind, like to do
Okay.
something in Paris. Like I traveled there, I created artwork there. Like I've never had a show there. I would absolutely love to do that. So experience I'll tell you about, like for that 2017 trip. I met some friends out there. One of the friends was like a tour guide for me, and he was, I believe, the cousin of a client that I had, before I went on the trip. And it was like the last night. I'm leaving Paris, going to be going to Barcelona, and I forget where they took me. They took me by the water, and so I just saw like this really beautiful scene that I had to capture. So like we're just chilling and everything. It was like me and two other friends, and like I just sat down right there and started painting. I was like, all right, you guys gotta give me a minute. I gotta knock this out real quick. And it was like I think I probably spent like 15 minutes on it. And so like they came over with me. They were just watching me paint, and it was at night too. It was just amazing. We just seen the Eiffel Tower at night, which was really cool.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
peeking over my shoulder, asking me questions like, "Oh, why are you painting this?" and blah blah blah. And as I'm looking back at the work now, I don't think I really so much realized it then, but like everything that I was like absorbing from like going to the Louvre and all these other museums was being reflected into the work I was creating right then and there. Like really impressionistic, like kind of exaggerating things to just make them stand out in the painting, and really taking on being not a French artist, but like adopting French philosophy into the work I was creating, and really being respectful of that. Because like I don't travel anywhere without being respectful to the culture. And
Of
I think
course.
that's why, people responded to me while I was out there. Like I didn't have any problems, in France. Like I hear the stereotypes and stuff like that, but like I just went with an open mind. And so I would like be going to museums. I would like go to the cafes after that. Like I would just be painting and then striking up conversations with people. And so like these friends I had made out in Paris, I think they just really picked up on the fact that like I was really appreciating culture and really appreciating expressing my love for the culture through my art. And that happened to be like the night before I left, to go to this other place. And so that, let me actually pull that up too, so you get an idea. That piece is called Last Night in Paris, and I actually turned that into an NFT also. It's like one of the first NFTs that I put up there on this platform, just because like it meant so much to me as a piece of art. And it was a moment in time that it was just like so unique and so special, like creating artwork in this place that I had wanted to go to since I was a kid, and then being around friends too. So like it just the culmination of a lot of different things.
Now, time is slowly approaching to the end of the broadcast. I wish we had a little bit more time to talk to you, because I feel we just got just a little bit of layers in this onion. But like we always close out the show, just a little advice for any prospective artist out there who wants to go somewhat similar path you are on, and any way to find you, and any events coming up. So this time is yours for the last time of the show. Go right ahead.
Great. So I'll start with the advice for young people, for prospective artists. First piece of advice is like just don't give up. Like you,
of course,
never want to like give up halfway, so to speak. Like you find your voice, find what's important to you, find what you're passionate about, and know that it might take time. Like things go through a lot of iterations, a lot of changes. So, just stick with it, especially if it's something you're passionate about. There's a lot to be said for like just seeing something through, like even if you're not 100% in love with it, because who knows what is right around the corner.
It's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Where people can find me, RaheemNelson.com is the website. That's RAHEEM Nelson.com. On Instagram, I have an account for my art, fashion, and style photography. So the art is Raheem Nelson Art, style, Raheem Nelson Style, and then Raheem Nelson Photo. And those are the best ways to find me and connect with me. And for the events, I have one coming up the 27th. It'll be with the Ely Center for Contemporary Art. I'll be doing a talk on NFTs and my journey and experience with NFTs, specifically using Voice HQ. And that will be from 6 to 7:30. It's going to be on, I believe, 51 Trouble Street, which is where the gallery is. And on the 28th, you can catch me participating in open source. I'll be creating a digital mural capturing everybody's experience from the event. It's called Afrocentric. It's going to be in the Shelton Avenue area. You can definitely go online to find out more information. And the event is called Afrocentric. So I cannot wait for that too. We'll be doing some things back to back.
Raheem, thank you so much for being part of the broadcast. I learned so much, and I hope to get you on the show again. It was a great experience, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it, Preston.
Definitely. On WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, this has been Behind the Brand. Thank you.
Oh.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth it or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft.